Hello Saturnians! So, today I want to show you two decks that I often use together. Now, they are not a very typical combination of decks, but I think these two decks work really well together, especially for inner child work and shadow work. And this is the Zombie Tarot and the Nicoletta Ceccoli Tarot. Now, you may think that these two decks don't go together, but I am about to prove you wrong. Alright, so the Chakali Tarot is a tarot deck that speaks straight to my inner child. I am going to leave the link down below for a video I made a while ago in which I'm using this deck in a very powerful tarot spread. So if you see these images, look how beautiful they are. They trigger emotions, for me at least. They trigger emotions, fears, and anxieties that I had as a child. And I feel that this is true also for many of my clients. And sometimes a client's talking about something, and I sense that there is stuff from their childhood that is hidden underneath the rug of their subconscious mind. And then when I sense that, I take this deck, I show them this deck. Then they talk. They start talking because these images really trigger memories from childhood. A giant carrot here. Look at this one. Many of you will relate to the sensation of being punished as a child for doing something wrong or feelings of shame and guilt. So I feel that this deck is very powerful in the sense that it has the ability of bringing old memories up to the surface, even when we tried our best to keep them, very well hidden. I love this one too. But it's still a gentle deck. You see, there are these pastel colors. The color palette is really gentle and sweet. And on the other hand, we have the Zombie Tarot, which surprisingly also has a lot of children in the cards. Look, this page of wands. I absolutely adore this zombie baby. And while the vibe here is completely different, this is obviously a little bit more playful. And it's not scary at all, but you can see that these images are meant to trigger zombie aspects of our personalities, because we all have these creepy shadow aspects that sometimes relates to our childhood traumas. But surprisingly, I have crystal clear readings with this deck. And for me, it works really well in conjunction with the Chakali Tarot. So I am going to show you how I use these two decks together. So this is the Empress. I really like this Empress also. Death card. The Eight of Hazards. Actually, this was the inspiration behind a witch bottle that I made a while ago. I'm gonna leave the link up here somewhere. Yeah, I really like this one also. Ace of Hazards, 5 of Cups. Yeah, so what I do is I shuffle both of the decks, and sometimes I don't really have a question or a specific question in mind. I just want to know the light and the shadow aspect of an issue or a situation. It could be about a relationship, it could be about, job or anything. But if I feel that this situation or this issue has something to do with old traumas, I usually have these 2 decks. And then I shuffle the cards and I pick one card to be the light aspect and another card to be the shadow aspect. So here is the Temperance in the light aspect and 5 of Cups in the shadow aspect. So this works really well for clients as well. I just shuffle these 2 decks and I have them on my table. And when I feel that whatever they're telling me has something to do with old issues from childhood, I ask them to pick one card from this deck and another card from the Zombie Tarot. And then I have the light and the shadow aspect of the situation. So, as I said, you don't have to have something in mind, like a specific question. This is more to achieve some clarity, you see. And you can see how the images, they go together even though they have different vibes. Death in the Moon card. You see, this combination came up for a client dealing with the death of a loved one, of a relative. And here is the interesting combination that I got for this same client. The 5 of Swords and the Empress. And if you look at this Empress, it's the mother and the zombie child. And as a child, she was dealing with the loss of her dad. And she was telling me that she couldn't really suffer because her mother was trying her best to keep it together and to appear to be fine. So her mother didn't want to look like she was suffering or that she was in pain. So she disguised the whole thing, trying to put on a smile. And as a result, my client felt that she didn't have the right to suffer. When she saw this card, she said, well, that zombie girl is me. My mother is happy, but I'm dead inside because I lost my dad and mom wants me to keep on smiling. So you understand the 5 of Swords and the Empress here. So you see how these images really work well together. So I always have these 2 decks on my table when I am doing some shadow work, either for me or for my clients. And I think it's really a good combination. But there are other ways that I also use these cards. For instance, I shuffle the deck and then I place 3 cards these cards represent the light aspect of the issue, and then 3 cards from the Zombie Tarot deck, and these cards represent the shadow, and then I interpret them together like this. You see? So I can also use them in a spread. You could also interpret this as, the Chakali Tarot being the aspect that is conscious, and the Zombie Tarot being the aspects which are unconscious. And then you can interpret these cards together. So I am going to really shuffle the cards now and show you how I would do in an actual reading for myself using both these decks. So let's flip one by one. Okay, so here I have the Knight of Wands, the Emperor, and Justice card. And these are the conscious cards. Now the unconscious. Queen of Wands. I may be more impulsive than I think. 4 of Cups. Okay, that's an interesting one. And 2 of Hazards. Actually, this is the 2 of Pentacles in this deck. Right, let's take these 2 because they are the most obvious ones. So here we have the Emperor. This is a child that feels like the Emperor, wants to conquer the world. I see myself as the Emperor. In fact, I am an Aries rising, and the Emperor is the Aries card. But unconsciously, we have the 4 of Cups. So I may have a need for stability and, a need for structure, even though I see myself as the Emperor because of my Aries rising. And here we have Justice and the 2 of Pentacles. Yes, I try to achieve some sort of inner justice and fairness, but there is just so much going on trying to juggle the mundane aspects and to make ends meet that sometimes it's hard to achieve inner justice. You see, this is how I would interpret these cards in a shadowwork reading or inner child reading. So yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'm gonna see you next time. Bye bye.